They were so bad, it was untrue. I mean, I was thinking Iceland 2016, was it?
Yeah.
2016 all over again,
but
with much better players.
Yes.
What are we trying to do?
Exactly.
That is a question. When you're footballers and you set out and you have the managers and you go to your manager, this is how he wants you to play. I don't know what the message is coming from Southgate. And that is worrying. Next up, we go against Switzerland. And we know how organised they are. So it's mixed emotions in the players need credit for the way they kept it going to the fight. Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. But it was still disappointing, if we're being totally honest.
But there was they weren't cohesive. They were disjointed. They were unbalanced yet again, as we've seen many times in this tournament. They played deep. They were apart. They had the distances from the back four to the front were way too big. They weren't condensed in their play. It was as though they'd just met each other for the first time and gone on a field and tried to play football.
Yeah, positives. They're through the result. And, in knockout football, in reality, that's all that matters. But, and it's a big but, you only have to win 4 games, basically, once you're through to knockout football. Last 16, quarter-final, semi-final and final.
Your maths are good.
So, does it matter how you play? Well, it's results-based, yes, but there is so much more to be had from this England team. I mean, would it be wrong of me to say they've been rotten for 4 games, other than 30 minutes?
I don't think many fans at home, the people at home that watched that, and there would have been millions and millions of people with exactly that opinion. How could you think that was a good display?
And we're not exactly playing against great opposition. I mean, Slovakia today, for goodness sake. And our first shot on target was in the 95th minute. That's how bad it was.
There are so many things. Where should we? Let's start at the back, shall we? Now, the defence were very deep for a lot of the game. We've got a player, that John Stones, that loves to go into the midfield. We've seen it time in, time out with Manchester City. And he's become almost a kind of extra midfield player for them on many occasions. But he was deep. And then you've got the 2 midfield players, Rice and Mainu, that were often as deep as the back 4.
Yeah.
And then you've got a huge gap between them and perhaps Bellingham and certainly Kane. And they were so spread out that it was impossible to play sharp, short passing football because they were too far apart. And a lot of it was, and you just kept thinking, get up the pitch. And the players have got to do it from the back, but it must be tactical. It must be instructions because they're actually playing differently to what they always do. And that's why for me and I don't think it's actually about the individuals, and they're all playing below par, but I think they're playing below par because of the approach that England are playing. They're playing a kind of football that I don't think any of them probably play at club level. So that's how I feel. I might be wrong.
Do you think they can continue to play like this and go and win the tournament?
No,
I don't.
I said that before. I said it is about winning. Of course, it's about winning. But you can't keep getting away with it. And the minute England, if they keep playing that way, and I also say that they can turn it round, it just needs a slightly fresh approach, a bit more energy. But I just think there needs to be a different tactical approach for that to realistically be likely.
But maybe we're just a moment's team where we camp deep. We look at the previous times that England have been successful when they've got to finals and semi-finals. They've been a defensive style and just relying on talent like Bellingham and Kane and Saka and Foden to come up with a moment of genius. Maybe that's just what we are. Maybe we need to accept that. We're not going to like that, of course not, because we want to play better football. But
is that what we are, though? Or is that just a reflection?
I think that's what the manager is. That's what the manager is. It all stems from the manager. And if he wins the tournament playing like this, I did some stats on BBC the other day about all the great things they've done defensively. That's what he knows. So for us, it's so frustrating. But if he goes and wins a tournament playing like that, we'll say, okay. The question was, do you believe England can win like this? At this moment, what they're showing, no.
we're underdogs against Switzerland. Really? I mean, the performances would suggest that, yeah. But goodness me, it has to improve, doesn't it? I mean, it's a hard
lucky than
watch.
Good.
Yeah. That was a hard 95 minutes watch. I feel as if I'm absolutely drained. It's like feel like it's like
I'm sure
it was hard watch,
like
wasn't it?
Any players did themselves justice?
I thought Mainu was okay.
I thought Mainu did well. I thought you can see he's comfortable in that environment.
He wants to receive the ball in areas. He has no fear. He can drive the ball forward. Same as what we saw for Man United this season. I feel a little bit sorry for Declan Rice. He's played a couple of games with Trent, Alexander-Arnold in midfield. So you're looking for relationships on the field.
3 different players.
Gallagher, Mainu and Trent. So it's hard for him. And everyone's just saying, okay, we'll have Rice and then we'll have... But he needs that continuity to know what they want to do and how he wants to play. So although I don't think he had his best game, Rice, it's going to be difficult for him because he's constantly having a different partner in there.
His stats were actually quite... You were reading them out, weren't you, Alan?
Declan's were decent, yeah. It's like, well, yeah, stats can tell you whatever you really want, positive or negative.
Again, we have to keep saying they're through to the quarterfinals. They're playing Switzerland. But Switzerland, I think it's the first real test.
Yeah.
Switzerland have been exceptionally impressive in this tournament so far. They look tactically really spot on. They play high. They press. Are England going to play a counter-attack game?
Probably. Well, would love to see the changes.
But can you play a counter-attack game without getting people high behind and break quickly with pace?
I mean, if we want to do that, we need Gordon. At least
it's going to be fascinating how they cope with the 3 up top for Switzerland: Bowler, and Doy, and Vargas.
And also,
they're 3 big players for them.
And also, they play 3 at the back. Now, I think wasn't it Harry Kane said we'd struggled to play against teams with 3 at the back. We don't really know what we're doing. We're a bit confused. So it's, I mean, at least they're in the quarterfinal, but it's hard to be that hopeful. I mean, if you just said before the start of the tournament, England be in the quarterfinal against Switzerland, you'd go, well, fancier chances there. We'd be big favourites, but I don't think they are big favourites. Far from it.
Well, not from what we've seen. I mean, we can only tell you how it is, and when I don't think we're saying anything different to what anyone back at home is saying. They're watching the matches as well as we are, and it's not a good watch.
You can't pretend.
It's not a good watch.
You can't pretend that
they're miles off it. They're miles off it. Yeah. Miles off it. They're nowhere near what we'd hoped and expected from England. So, but
we can hurt Switzerland down the side, though.
Yeah, but we can hurt them absolutely because we're all waiting. We're all waiting for us to improve, to get better, and the hope and the spark. And we've been saying about it just takes one little thing to get us going. Now.
Just look at the quality of the players that England actually have at their disposal. But you've got to get something out of them. And I look at them at the moment, I see a team they're like lost souls. I don't think they really know what they're supposed to be doing, what their jobs are, how the team is supposed to be playing. Now, I'm sure they have been told, but it's whether they're bought into it. They're playing in a kind of format and a style that is alien to most of them because most of them play a high press, dynamic, really sharp, electric, short passing football. Not seen any of that. So I actually feel for the players a little bit. They look like they're trying their nuts off. You can see that. They're running, they're chasing and harrying and doing all the things. There's absolutely, definitely no lack of effort in there or commitment about that. But they look a little bit lost, but maybe that little moment of like Bellingham magic, and what an absolute superstar this kid. He's done that so many times for Real Madrid, hasn't he, this season? That's what superstars do. There's almost an arrogance about him as well, which I like, which is very un-British, isn't it? Very un-English, because you're supposed to be modest and stuff. And I saw him in his interview, and what he said.
What a script.
Who keeps writing your scripts? Who writes your
scripts? I do. And I thought, who would say that? He's just turned 21. What was it? Day before the game. I mean,
I love him.
I love that. I admire it. People start going, "Oh, he's getting a bit big for his boots." No, his boots are big and he fills them.
You know what I like about him? He had a couple of off performances, but it didn't affect him, and that's how you know he's a top player. Even if he doesn't play well in the game, he can still make the difference.
The only thing I would say, in a slight kind of excuse, is that I think the pitches that perhaps England have played on in particular, they look awful. They're cutting up and bobbly and bumpy. When I saw, we've just been watching Spain as well. They were brilliant. And their pitches, it seemed to be moving the ball quick, or maybe they're just passing it quicker. But, people are falling over, stumbling on the,
Maybe that's why we haven't played
maybe
well.
that's it. Give a player an excuse and he'll take it. We know that from our own experience.
But you said the changes. What changes would you?
I would keep Palmer in. I would bring Gordon in. Obviously, I would keep Mainu in because I think he's done enough to.
Who plays instead of Gay?
To stay in.
He's got 2 yellow cards, and he's been good.
There's Duncan Conser to pick. Who would you go with?
Probably Conser. I think is the one he's involved a little bit more as well, hasn't it? So
same.
He would bring him in. I think. Yeah. Maybe you don't know Luke Shaw. I don't know.
What about Cole Palmer?
Yeah, I'll definitely keep him in. Yeah.
Keep him in.
Cole Palmer's got something about him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's confident.
Swagger.
He's got a swagger. I mean, again, I don't think it's necessarily about individuals, but you've got to find the right balance. They've got to address the situation on the left. I mean,
who's going to play left back though? Because Trippier went off injured.
That's another problem because Luke Shaw won't be able to play because he didn't even come on again for a few minutes. So he can't start because he's not played for months. So it comes back again, that decision about not bringing another backup left back. I mean, we saw Saka played there for a bit, which is possible if he wants to put Palmer on the right. Could play Saka, which would be a bit odd.
Saka himself said before this game that I said, no, I wouldn't. It's not right me playing the left back position. Yeah, he was shifted there tonight, wasn't he?
He did all right as well, didn't he? At left back.
Did all right, yeah.
I thought Eze was there for a little while as well. It's kind of a left wing back, but covering back a little bit. So there are issues, but what would you do?
Yeah, it's a hard one because I'm just thinking the way that Switzerland play, and with the three at the back, Kanji's pivotal in everything they do. I know your man Shah there at the back as well. I watched him the other day. Very good. Worries me a little bit in midfield with Xhaka and Freuler because they basically just run the game. But if I'm looking at the areas where we can hurt Switzerland, it's definitely down the right-hand side and left-hand side. Cole Palmer, I probably agree with Alan on that because he can draw defences in, he can attack and go both ways. But I think we're crying out for pace on that left-hand side with Gordon.
I think we all thought that last game. We all thought that the game before. We all thought that game before that. But for some reason, he's not really had a look in.
I just think Foden will be too isolated against Switzerland on the left-hand side.
It doesn't work for him, does it?
It's not working.
Not there. I think he's a great player, and you could play him as a 10. You could still probably play Bellingham alongside Rice. I still think Bellingham up and down is...
He went too early for the disallowed goal as well, didn't he? Should never have been offside, should he?
No. They're so spread out, so deep. And the two midfield players are on the toes of the two central defenders. Alan was exasperated by that, wasn't he?
Well, it was, so many times that Rice and Mainu were both of them standing there getting the ball off the centre-halves. I'm thinking, centre-halves can do that.
Get up.
Yeah. Get further up the pitch and give us more options up there, No need for them to keep coming and get the ball. And they were only 5 and 10 yards apart at times, so... Yeah, I was getting really frustrated at doing that because I didn't think there was a need for it.
I agree with that. I think sometimes, I don't like the word playing within yourself, but you drop a little bit deeper just to get on the ball, get your confidence, but you need to be getting the ball higher up in areas where you can hurt the teams.
They go up, they come back, he ends up back at Pickford and then Pickford will launch it.
I know.
It was kind of a bit archaic in many ways, but anyway. England are through.
They're through.
They're through, and thankfully they're not playing Spain because my goodness me, they were impressive.
They were very good. Again,